All right, good morning. Today we're going to learn how to do an ABA composition in NoteFlight. So, an ABA composition is something you may have heard about before, but when we use letters in our composition like that, ABA, we're talking about the musical form. And so, musical form is the structure of how our music is laid out to make it organized to make sense. An ABA form has two parts, an A part and a B part. And then that A, when it comes back the second time, is actually the same exact thing as it was the first time. So a song I always like to use to explain what ABA actually is one of our old favorites, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So we all are familiar with this song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, right? That's your first four measures. I'm going to call that our A section because that is the first chunk of distinct melody. So D, D, A, A, B, B, A, G, G, F sharp, E, E, D. Those notes in that sequence with those rhythms, A section. If we go to the next line here, A, G, G, F sharp, E, A, G, G, F sharp, E. That's definitely different than what you had at first. So the A section, and I'm going to call measure 5 through 8 the B section, that they have two different distinct parts to them. At the end, since we're talking A, B, A form, this last line must also be an A. And if you look at the notes, D, D, A, B, B, A, G, G, F sharp, E, E, D, they're exactly the same as this A section right here. So we have our A, B, A form going on this way. Now you might think, okay, but in measure 5 and 6, that's a two measure line, and then there's the same two measures there. I just combine them all. The form isn't perfect, but it gives you a good idea of what to look at. So what I'm going to have you do today for your assignment is compose your own piece of music in ABA form. And I'm going to kind of walk you through a little bit of that right now. So I'm going to go to NoteFlight. I'm going to create my own score. Start from a blank score sheet. And then I've got my thing here. So you can title it later. You worry about that in a second. But we're going to start with changing the instrument. So I'm going to add my instrument. I'll do violin. And I'll get rid of the piano part. Now, this composition, I have a couple rules for you. I want you to have it in ABA form. And I want you to kind of match Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in the idea that it's going to be 12 measures long. So one big thing that we need to do is add some measures. We only have 4 of them right here. So I'm going to go up to measure right here. And I'm going to hit the plus sign. Add measure after. Now I have 5. So you're going to hit that a total of 7 more times. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, until you have your 12 measures. And that's all you're going to need. Now one thing it'll do is at the end, you'll see that it'll add an extra measure on the end. You're going to want to hit the minus sign to take that away so it looks really nice and neat. But we'll worry about that later. So next thing I want to do is I want to make sure I'm in 4/4 time, which I am. It defaults to 4/4, which is nice. And then I want to make sure that I have my key signature of D major. So what I need to do is I need to click on the key signatures up here, measure, all the way over, change key signature, D. Oh, and I had this measure highlighted, so it looks like it only changed that one measure. So I'm going to start at the beginning here and see what that wants to change. I'll keep going. So this is obviously changing one at a time. One trick you can use is if you highlight all the measures by holding shift and clicking on the first and the last. And then you go just like that. Now you've got your key signature everywhere. So another thing I'm going to do to set this up nicely, and you don't necessarily have to do this, but I think it makes it look a lot better, is I'm going to set up some page breaks. And so what those are is it's just something that makes it look like 4 measure chunks without me having to look at 6 measures on the first line and 6 measures on the second. I can have all 3 of my lines, make 3 lines and have them in 3 measure chunks. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click on the 4th measures ending bar line, and I'm just going to hit the enter key. And that breaks it into a chunk of 4 measures. It's kind of like ending a paragraph in a paper. Oops, didn't mean to add that. Let me go ahead and click on the line again. Enter. Haha. So now I've got my lines set up perfectly for my A, B, and A. So I'm going to keep this in the key of D major. I'm going to use only my D major scale notes. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And I'm going to go ahead and make my, again, A, B, A form happen. So if you think about it, you really only have to compose 8 measures because both A sections are the same. So I'm going to start with my first A section. I'm going to start on a D because we're in D major. Why not? And then I'm going to go... This is where you can use your own creativity. How about F sharp? E, G, A, F sharp, G, G, oops, want to keep that a half note, go over to this measure, G, F sharp, A, F sharp, D, E, D. Let's add a half note. So it might look like I'm jumping around to random notes here, but if you think about it, it's actually pretty playable on an instrument. If I were playing this on the violin, I'd be able to do this all on the D string, so that melody sits really nicely and is actually something that you could play on your own instrument. D, F sharp, E, G, A, F sharp, G. Open 2, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 2, 1. Open, 1, open. So you could play that. And now, because I already know that that's going to be my A section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to highlight measure 1 through 4 using the Shift key, Command C to copy, click on measure 9, paste it. I already have half the work done for me, 2/3 of the work actually. Now I just need to compose a B section. So on the B section, to make it interesting, you can start on a different note that's not actually D. I'm going to start on G this time. And instead of jumping around so many notes, I can use some repetition. And again, these are all just examples. You don't have to copy me. In fact, please don't come up with your own ideas here. But I'm going to use some repetitive notes that might make it a little interesting, as opposed to all the changing notes that you have in the A section. We've got that line of repeating, and I'll keep a rest in here. All right, so now I've got my line going on here. I'm going to turn my volume up so you can hear it through the mic, and I'm going to go ahead and play for you what I have. So I'm going to click on this first measure, and I'm going to hit play, and you can kind of hear how my composition works. So I start with my A part. Now I'm on to the B. Back to the A. All right. So my A line, both my A lines, they kind of work with that question and answer format we talked about Monday. I have my question, da 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 da, it goes away, and then this one takes it back home. What are you eating for lunch? I am having chicken soup. I don't know, whatever words you want. But you get your question and answer. And then the B section, it doesn't necessarily have to ask a question that gets answered. If I think about it that way as a conversation, the B section adds some drama because it's different. So I go G, 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 E, D, F sharp, E, and then I continue on with the question. So I like ask it twice. It's like the little sibling who really wants something, and then you're like, I finally just need to tell them this is how it is again, and we're back at A. So to put words to this, I'm having a creative blank here. Can we go out to the park? Can we go out to the park? I don't know. Something like that. But it's asked twice, like it's really important there, and it builds a heightened sense of urgency for that. And so that's kind of a cool thing. And then again, resolves it there. So what I want you to do again is to do an A, B, A form composition, 12 measures, key of D major, 4/4 time. And once you're done with it, give it a title, and then screenshot it and send it to me. Remember, with the screenshot, you hold Command, Shift, 4, and then you get the crosshairs. Do the whole thing, screenshot it all, hear the click, and it goes to your desktop, and you can send it to me in Canvas. All right, please let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help you at any time today or any time this week. Thanks again. See you later. Bye.